everyone. This will be my first tutorial on how to do the monochrome paintings, and I will be using gouache paints. And today we'll be painting Saza. I think that's how you say it. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it because I've been saying it that way since forever. So we're just gonna get started. I do have this sketch done a little bit, but I will go ahead and just outline all the tiny details that I need, and then we're gonna choose our colors next and then just get started. Okay, I had to reposition my camera so that you guys can see it better, but mostly I mostly focus on the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. Obviously, the most important features of the face, and today we'll be actually painting her hands. Well, her hands, so her fingers, which is not something that I usually do with these paintings. I usually try to stick just mainly on the portrait, the face, but just gonna challenge myself a little bit today, and also we'll be doing a flower which is in the middle. I'm thinking we can maybe go with gold. I don't know, we'll see. I do have to say it is a lot harder doing this, doing like a longer version. It's a lot easier making these videos on TikTok. Just take like 15-second short films and then just put it all together. It literally takes me like 5 minutes, not even, to edit a video and just post it. Edit a TikTok, I guess, but I'm just doing the outline still, just making sure everything's perfect so that once I start painting I'm not confused. So the gouache paint that I'll be using today is by Arteza, or Arteza, I'm not sure. But I have the 60 piece, and I haven't really tried I have not tried a different brand of gouache paints before, and this is actually my first one, and I mean it works well for me, so I would definitely think about getting these instead, because they are like a lot cheaper, and I feel like they're also like a very good quality, and like a tiny tube will last you for a very long time. Although I did run out of the white one, so I had to buy a separate one. And of course I never close these. I never like close the caps because I'm just lazy, and there's a piece of hair. Okay, so oops. Okay, so I do kind of want to go in with a burnt orange, like maybe a burnt sienna color. So I'm kind of leaning towards those colors, and also orange, because I will be using some gold acrylic paint. So I want those to go well together. I don't want it to be too orangey, because I feel like then you wouldn't be able to see the gold as much, which I'm trying to incorporate into the flower, but we'll see how that goes. So I'm just looking at the colors over here. I forgot that I'm supposed to be like showing the camera what I'm doing. So basically these are the colors, and I am definitely thinking about orange red. It's a pretty nice color, and or burnt sienna, but I feel like that will be a bit too brown, so we'll see how the orange red looks. can look a bit more like orange when you mix it with white, or it can turn pink, so there's no really, you can't really go anywhere with that. This color might work. It's red though. I don't know. I'm kind of confused because I don't know what color to go with now. Let's swatch them. So I'll be using this plastic paper, which I normally do use as a palette for these gouache paints because it doesn't like absorb them, and you can just like reactivate it with water if it dries out. So this is the red. I really like that because it has like a bit of an orange tone to it. Maybe if I could zoom it in. Well, you can't really see it, but I don't know. And then we have the orange red, which is a lot lighter than what I need. And then we have the crimson red, which is very on the dark side. I think we're gonna go with the middle one, and then maybe try and use that with like maybe her eyeliner and like the flower and like her hair, maybe to try to give it that dark balance. So we'll see how that goes, and this is the color that we're gonna go with. You know, I make this mistake every time, but I never learn. Kids, don't do this at home. Hopefully. Alright. It hasn't dried that much, but we'll give it a chance. Need some water. Just gonna put it here. And then let's talk some brushes, paint brushes. I do get a lot of questions about the type of the brush that I use, and honestly the brushes that I use are super duper cheap. They're from Amazon and I get them for like $7, and it has like for like a one pack, and it has like 7 maybe inside. And they're just regular watercolor brushes, but they do have to be round and like a lot finer, like very thin, I guess, pointy, because we are, you know, working with a lot of detailing and a lot of like lines, which is, you know, I guess the style that we actually have to go with. But today I do have a brush that I'm not sure honestly what brush this is. I don't know where I got it from, but you know, they just kind of, they're there. I don't know what number this is. It doesn't say, well, 0, it says 0. I'm gonna use this for the eyelashes and like the eyeliner and everything. Basically just like the first step to the to painting. We're gonna have to go in with the color of our choice, but we're not gonna mix it with any white. We're just gonna leave it as is, because that's gonna be our darkest color for now. And I'm just gonna go ahead and use that color for the eyeliner. Basically just outline the whole thing to give us, you know, a sense of direction to where we have to apply all the, you know, the shading, like the different shades of the orange that we're using later on, and like how lighter we can get. So we're gonna start very dark, and then we're gonna build our way up to make it a lot more lighter once we get to like the nose, where, you know, we would consider it to be the highlight. Around like the cheekbones over here, it'll be lighter, and obviously her eyes, and you know, we'll get to that point later on. So I feel like it would be the best way to practice would be just like, I guess, practicing how much water you think you'll need, because sometimes it could be a bit too watery, sometimes it could be a bit too dry, so you have to kind of like know your balance, like your own thing, and see what you like, whether if you like it, you know, to be more you know, on the watery side or like more thick. But I wouldn't recommend using the paint without any water, or just using a tiny bit of water, because I feel like the paint is way too thick, and like it feels dry. Although it's wet, it still feels dry when it's going on the paper. So I would just kind of practice how much water you need, and also maybe make like strokes, just so you can see how thick that stroke is or how little, so you know how much to pack on your, you know, brush, on the bristles. Because if you do pack too much, you know, you're gonna end up with that, which is not what we need when it comes to, you know, outlining or rendering the portrait. So you kind of want to get some paint. You kind of want to get some paint on your brush, and kind of like, I kind of roll it like this, so all the excess can come off, and then that way it's not too dry, but it's not too wet, and then you can get a very fine line. So I did go ahead and paint a little bit, but I had to do that for my TikTok video, so I had to do the eyeliner that everyone seems to love, so I had to get that in a close-up shot. So, but other than that, I'm just gonna go ahead and just outline everything else, like how I did over here, and then from there on we can move on to start, you know, adding the white. Now that all the outlining is done, I'm gonna go ahead and use a bigger brush. I'll just be switching between these two, and then I'm gonna use this brush, and I'm still not gonna mix it in with the white yet, but I'm just gonna take the orange and kind of go over all the big spots, like the hair, her shirt, which is over here, but you can barely see it because all of her hair is coming down and covering it, which will do, you know, which is gonna be like one of the last steps. So we'll just worry about that later, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do whatever outlining that will be touching the face that I'm gonna work with. What I'm gonna do now is basically go ahead and just mix in a little bit of white to the orange, and I'm just gonna use all of the orange. Get this one over here. So I honestly don't know what I'm saying, but I'm gonna zoom in, and basically I'm gonna use the color that we just made by adding a little bit of white, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it after this one, so make sure I don't have too much on my brush. So it's gonna go in after that one, and it's gonna look a lot lighter, although I don't see a big difference as I'm looking at it right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a tiny bit of more white to the mixture, the paint. I don't know, whatever. So let me just try that again and see if it's lighter. Yep, that's a lot lighter. And you can obviously paint over the last stroke. Like, it doesn't, with gouache paint, it doesn't make a difference if you do a second layer. I mean, it'll be more opaque, but you know, I'm saying it won't like ruin your picture. So we have this little shadow going on her nose, which I did put the, you know, the darkest shade of orange. So we're gonna go ahead and try to kind of bring it go down a little bit, like make it lighter, I guess. So I'm not going to paint over that, but I'm going to paint on both sides of it. So we're going to go on this side, and I'm looking at the reference picture, and that shade almost like goes down a bit. And then obviously we're going to go ahead and like connect that to the eyebrows, and then bring it down again, and ta-da! So it'll just get lighter and lighter until it just disappears, or, you know, becomes one with the bridge of the nose, which is where the white or the lightest shade of orange will be. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint. Oh, that was too much. I'm gonna go ahead and do it over here. We can't really see her lids, so they are a bit darker. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay that over. And under her eyes. And then obviously over here, because the dark is coming this way and the shadow is being made, which is, so it'll just be dark and then it'll get lighter as it goes. But I did just realize that I need to bring this up a bit like that so that it can go out. I don't know. You know, I'm trying to be, I do want to be a teacher, like an art teacher, I guess, like a professor, but obviously I suck at explaining what I'm trying to do over here, but it's okay. This is gonna be like a practice for me. And obviously we cannot forget the hands. Alright, so now that we have that, I'm gonna go ahead and obviously add more white to the orange that we have. Mix it in. I don't know if that's light enough, but we can test it out. Let's test it out over here. We could add more white. Could use more white. Alright, let's see. That works. Alright, so now I'm gonna basically repeat the same thing, but this time I think we'll have more shades of this because I see more of that in my reference picture. Okay, so I did a few lines, you know, adding white. As you can see, it's filling up, and I'm gonna go ahead and add more white and just keep going. Okay, so now that we're getting towards the end, my paint has gotten a lot more lighter than what we started with. So I'm gonna go ahead and use that lightest color right here on the cheek, which is where I see the light hitting the most on the picture that I'm using. So I'm just gonna go ahead and color in the whole thing in this light shade. So I didn't show this, but I'm going in with a very, very light shade of orange. It's mostly white. And I'm going and doing all the little tiny details that I see. So like the tip of the nose, and above the lips. And of course we got the hands. I'm gonna do the ring. Gonna do the highlights. Oh, you can't see what I just did, but I was doing I was doing the ring and then the highlights on the nails. I'm gonna do a tiny bit right here on the chin, like this. But I think we might have to do one right here, like that. And I think that's it for now. We're gonna go ahead and do the lips and then the eyes. So for the eyes, I'm gonna go in with the same shade and just fill it in. And then we can just go darker or lighter if we need to. You know what? I have decided to paint the whole thing, even over here, like the background, in this same shade of orange or whatever it is, and I'll show you why. It'll make sense once I start using the crimson red as the black outline. But for now, we're gonna just cover this in the same color because it feels awkward, and I honestly don't know what color to use without it looking weird. Like, I thought about using the red orange, but it just doesn't work together. So I did take some of the burnt sienna and I mixed it with the orange that we already had, so it can give it a little bit of like a warm red color to it, because the burnt sienna is very brown, as you can see it right here. So yeah, and I will be using this color to do the eyebrows, the eyeliner, and all the other details like the hair, and to outline between the fingers. gonna be using this gold paint by Metallics. It's my favorite. I think this shade is the 24K gold one because they have different ones. So I'm just gonna dip it in here, get a bunch on my brush, and just paint wherever there's no red. Sorry. Okay, so I decided to add some gold on her lashes and the hair, and this is the final result. I think we're done. Pretty happy with how it came out, although the color is not what I was going for, but it's totally fine. I hope this helped, although I wasn't I couldn't explain myself better, but I think all you need to do is just practice it more and you'll just get it, you'll get used to it, and it actually like became pretty easy over time. And but yeah, thanks for watching. I hope to make more videos in the future, maybe with better with a better setup and better editing skills, but this should do for now. Bye.